teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History, yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History, yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? History, history.
Now we going back. He done on my back for sure. When I let the truth go, we gon' let them know. My people on my back for sure. I hold them down for the road. The Lord Almighty made me. Laws I got, they changed me. We can see the truth now. Got them looking crazy. Man, I'm always searching. Yeah, you hear I'm searching. You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
Yeah. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History, yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History, yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? History, history.
Now we going back. He done on my back for sure. When I let the truth go, we gon' let them know. My people on my back for sure. I hold them down for the road. The Lord Almighty made me. Laws I got, they changed me. We can see the truth now. Got them looking crazy. Man, I'm always searching. Yeah, you hear I'm searching. You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
Yeah. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History, yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History, yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? History, history.
Now we going back. He done on my back for sure. When I let the truth go, we gon' let them know. My people on my back for sure. I hold them down for the road. The Lord Almighty made me. Laws I got, they changed me. We can see the truth now. Got them looking crazy. Man, I'm always searching. Yeah, you hear I'm searching. You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
Yeah. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? History, history.
Now we going back. He done on my back for sure. When I let the truth go, we gon' let them know. My people on my back for sure. I hold them down for the road. The Lord Almighty made me. Laws I got, they changed me. We can see the truth now. Got them looking crazy. Man, I'm always searching. Yeah, you hear I'm searching. You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
Yeah. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? History, history.
Now we going back. He done on my back for sure. When I let the truth go, we gon' let them know. My people on my back for sure. I hold them down for the road. The Lord Almighty made me. Laws I got, they changed me. We can see the truth now. Got them looking crazy. Man, I'm always searching. Yeah, you hear I'm searching. You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
Yeah. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it?
He done on my back for sure. When I let the truth go, we gon' let them know. My people on my back for sure. I hold them down for the road. The Lord Almighty made me. Laws I got, they changed me. We can see the truth now. Got them looking crazy. Man, I'm always searching. Yeah, you hear I'm searching. You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
Yeah.
Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? History, history.
Now we going back. He done on my back for sure. When I let the truth go, we gon' let them know. My people on my back for sure. I hold them down for the road. The Lord Almighty made me. Laws I got, they changed me. We can see the truth now. Got them looking crazy. Man, I'm always searching. Yeah, you hear I'm searching. You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
Yeah.
Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? Do you know it? Tell me, do you know it? History, history.
Now we going back. He done on my back for sure. When I let the truth go, we gon' let them know. My people on my back for sure. I hold them down for the road. The Lord Almighty made me. Laws I got, they changed me. We can see the truth now. Got them looking crazy. Man, I'm always searching. Yeah, you hear I'm searching. You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
You hear me, boy, I'm searching.
Yeah.
Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know it?
Hey, shalom, shalom. We are back. We are back. You are now tuned into our Hidden History.
Hidden History radio show.
All right. You got to my right,
Officer Judge.
Officer LaQuant.
and we got to my left.
Officer Haim.
Officer Abaddon.
And we're back. We're back with another week of our Hidden History radio. To give y'all some information, historical information based upon the Bible. Hopefully you guys get edified. We are in the Greek captivity. Well, praise the Lord. So for those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, I might be a little bit way ahead of you at this point, but we are now in the times of the Gentiles, from Babylon, Assyria to Babylon to Persia, and now we're in the Greek captivity regarding the Hasmonean family. The Hasmonean family, a black family. Fathered by a man named Captain, he's in my head now. Mattathias, all right, Mattathias, and his 5 sons, and these men became warriors, leaders of independence against the Greek domination of the time that came after Alexander the Great, following behind the Ptolemies, following behind Antiochus Epiphanes and Antiochus Eupator. So now we're delving into the history of Antiochus Eupator and his boy Philip, Lysias, all these different people that were at the time, were around at the time. So we're going to get into 2 Maccabees chapter 12 and verse 17. All right? To be honest, I forgot where we start. I know where we starting here now. We left off from Revelation 11 and 10. Oh, that's what I forgot. Could I forget? We went into the history of how we were kicking the nations behind. We were tormenting them, throwing them off of cliffs, cutting their toes and thumbs off, putting them in the freaking oven, cutting their limbs off, lining them up and killing one to make the other watch. We were doing some crazy things, bro. You know, David, doing the same thing. Joab, his boy, was doing the same thing. We were doing these nations dirty.
That's right.
How the Maccabees have performed unspeakable slaughters. Whenever the nations decided to run their mouth and speak blasphemous words against us or our God, we took that very, very, very personal. So you think the Jews or the Israelites were a soft people? We were not. We were very, very vicious when the time called for it. We were very loving and kind when the time called for it. All right? Give me 2 Maccabees 12 and verse 17.
Yes, sir.
All right, hold on a second. Let me get there with you so I'm not left behind.
Clear your throat, bro.
Yeah, you got T over there, man. Use it. Don't mess around. Start adding words and that'll be adding freaking italics and stuff in the damn. Go ahead.
2 Maccabees, chapter 12
And verse 17.
and verse 17. Then departed they from thence.
No, the thence is the place where they performed unspeakable slaughters to the point where there was so much blood in the river because there was a land and it was in the middle of a lake. And when we built the bridge, we got up in that land and we killed so many people that the blood was enough to fill up 4 football fields?
Yes.
4 football fields
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
of blood in that water, in that lake. That's how much killing we were doing for the money in their mouth. In that walled little city on that lake. All right? So read on.
Then departed they from thence 750 furlongs, and came to Corica unto the Jews that are called Tubini. But as for Timotheus, they found him not in the places.
Tubanai. Go ahead.
For,
Tubayanai. Go ahead.
for before he had dispatched anything, he departed from thence, having left a very strong garrison in a certain hold.
Now, didn't we kill Timotheus? We killed him, right? This is a different Timotheus. A different Timotheus. Go ahead. This is the Timotheus that had a problem with us living at peace. And you read verse 2.
Yes, sir.
Okay, different Timotheus. Go ahead.
Verse 19. Howbeit, Dositheus and Sosipater, who were of Maccabeus captains, went forth and slew those that Timotheus had left in the fortress, above 10,000 men. And Maccabeus ranged his army by bands, and set them over the bands, and went against Timotheus,
who had about him 120,000 men of foot and 2,500 horsemen.
A lot of men. Go ahead.
Now when Timotheus had knowledge of Judah's coming, he sent the women and children and the other baggage unto a fortress called Carneon, for the town was hard to besiege.
Right, so he had some people, women and children hostage when we were fighting against him. Our own people hostage, women and children. Go ahead.
And uneasy to come unto,
It wasn't hard to besiege or fight or get him. It was a fortress. Go ahead.
by reason of the straightness of all the places. But when Judas his first band came in sight, and enemies being smitten with fear and terror through the appearance of him that seeth all things, fled amain, one running this way, another that way, so as that they were often hurt of their own men, and wounded with the points of their own swords.
Read 22 again.
But when Judas had his first band came in sight,
When they first saw Judas and his men, go ahead.
the enemies being smitten with fear and terror through the appearance of him that seeth all things,
So when they saw Judas Maccabee and they saw him, go ahead, him and his men, go ahead.
fled amain.
They were scared because Judas Maccabees was a monster. This dude was a warrior. He killed mad people, so the sight of him struck fear into the hearts of the enemies, in so much that they started to run from him. They started to retreat. Go ahead.
One running this way, another that way, so as that they were often hurt of their own men,
They ran to each other. Go ahead.
and wounded with the points of their own
And they stabbed
swords.
each other. Trying to get away. They ran to each other, started stabbing, poking each other with each other's swords. They were colliding into each other. They were trying to get away from him. Go ahead.
If
Yeah.
I may, real quick, that's a perfect example of not holding the line.
Right.
When you don't hold your line, you don't stay in your position, you wind up wounding your own men.
Go ahead.
Verse 23. Judas also was very earnest in pursuing them, killing those wicked wretches,
Damn.
of whom he slew about 30,000 men. Moreover, Timotheus himself fell into the hands of Dysothius and Sosipater,
Judas' generals. Go ahead. His
Who?
captains.
whom he besought with much craft to let him go with his life.
So when we finally got into the fortress, we got Timotheus. Judas' captains got Timotheus, got him into their hands, but he was able to negotiate his way out of being killed. Why? Read on.
Because he had many of the Jews' parents and the brethren of some of them, who, if they put him to death, should not be regarded.
Not be found. So he had some. So as collateral, he said, if you kill me, you won't find your parents, you won't find your brothers, you won't find your people, you won't find the women, you won't find your children, your wives, you won't find them. So go ahead and kill me. So this guy had a trump card, unfortunately. Go ahead.
So when he had assured them with many words that he would restore them without hurt,
But if you don't kill me, I'll restore your families back to you. Go ahead.
according to the agreement, they let him go for the saving of their
So
brethren.
this guy got off. Smart demon. Go ahead.
Then Maccabeus marched forth to Carneon and to the temple of Atargatus, and there he slew 25,000 persons.
Killed 25,000 people. Go ahead.
And after he had put to flight and destroyed them, Judas removed the host toward Ephron, a strong city, wherein Lysias abode, and a great multitude of diverse nations.
Lysias, that's that dude that was raising up Antiochus' son to be the next king. Antiochus Eupator. Same Lysias. Go ahead.
And the strong young men kept the walls and defended them mightily, wherein also was great provision of engines and darts.
Go ahead.
Verse 28. But when Judas and his company had called upon Almighty God, who with his power breaketh the strength of his enemies, they won the city and slew 25,000 of them that were therein.
Damn. Go ahead.
Within. From thence they departed to Scythopolis, which lieth
Scythopolis.
which lieth 600 furlongs from Jerusalem. But when the Jews that dwelt there had testified that the Scythopolitans,
Scythopolitans. Yeah, that's them.
all praise, dealt lovingly with them and entreated them kindly in the time of their adversity, they gave them thanks, desiring them to be friendly still unto them. And so they came to Jerusalem, the feast of the weeks approaching.
So and they came back they returned home with the feast of Pentecost approaching. Go ahead.
And after the feast called Pentecost, they went forth against Gorgias, the governor of Idumea,
Gorgias, this guy's still alive. Go ahead.
who came out with 3,000 men of foot and 400 horsemen. And it happened that in their fighting
Wait, stop there. Stop
Yes,
there.
sir.
I'm sorry, Pentecost. Yeah, keep going to 45. Yeah, I'm sorry. Keep
Yes,
going.
sir. And it happened that in their fighting together, a few of the Jews were slain, at which time,
Damn, so we got killed. Judas lost some men. Go ahead.
Dositheus, one of Bacarner's company, who was on horseback, and a strong man, was still upon Gorgias.
So at which time Dositheus, I believe that's Judas's captains again, right?
Yes, Dositheus.
Dositheus, and there was two of them. Dositheus
Sosipater.
and Sosipater are Judas's captains. So watch this. He was on horseback. He's chasing behind Gorgias. Go ahead.
And taking hold of his coat, drew him by force.
So he grabbed Gorgias by the coat and he tried to pull him, tried to yank him. Go ahead.
And when he would have taken that cursed man
He
alive,
would have took him alive. Go ahead.
a horseman of Thracia, coming upon him, smote off his shoulder,
Cut his arm off. Lost his arm. Go ahead.
so that Gorgias fled unto
He
Marsa.
got away. Gorgias got away, but his man lost his arm. Okay? So Dositheus lost his arm. Go ahead.
Now when they that were with Gorgias had fought long and were weary, Judas called upon the Lord that he would shew himself to be their helper and leader of the battle. And with that, he began in his own language and sung psalms with a loud voice. And rushing unawares upon Gorgias' men, he put them to flight.
Damn, go ahead.
So Judas gathered his host and came into the city of Odolam. And when the 7th day came, they purified themselves, as the custom was, and kept the Sabbath in the same place.
They kept the Sabbath wherever they was at. They kept the Sabbath. Go ahead.
And upon the day following, as the use had been, Judas and his company came to take up the bodies of them that were slain,
Remember, some of the Jews got killed. Go ahead.
and to bury them with their kinsmen in their fathers' graves. Now under the coats of everyone that was slain, they found things consecrated to the idols of the Jamnites,
Oh, so these guys that were in Judas' military, they were idolaters. Go ahead.
which is forbidden the Jews by the law. Then every man saw that this was the cause wherefore they were slain.
They were all killed because they had idols on them. Go ahead.
All men therefore praising the Lord, the righteous judge, who had opened the things that were hid.
Right. So that's why he was losing men, because some of the men he lost was in the midst of evil, midst of idolatry. Go ahead.
Betook themselves unto prayer and besought him that the sin committed mighty holy be
No.
put. Sorry.
They took themselves into prayer and besought him that the sin committed might wholly be put out of remembrance. I mean, he prayed for the Lord to have forgiveness of them, because they were still, despite them getting caught in idolatry, he was still praying the Lord have mercy upon them, because they still died fighting for their people. Go ahead, read again.
Yes, sir.
42.
Betook themselves unto prayer and besought him that the sin committed might wholly be put out of remembrance. Besides, that noble Judas exhorted the people to keep themselves from sin, for so much as they saw before their eyes the things that came to pass for the sins of those that were
So he
slain.
encouraged others. Listen, man, don't die like these guys did. Go ahead.
And when he had made a gathering throughout the company to the sum of 2,000 drachms of silver, he sent it to Jerusalem to offer a sin offering, doing therein very well and honestly, in that he was mindful of the
He was
resurrection.
mindful that you died, you will return. You either going to return to everlasting life or return to everlasting destruction. He was knowledgeable of that based upon Daniel. He knew the Bible. Go ahead.
For if he had not hoped that they that were slain should have risen again, it had been superfluous and superfluous and vain to pray for the dead.
So he's saying if he had not hoped that they would be slain should have risen again, it would have been a waste of time and vain to pray for the dead. Because Judas understood that people will die and they will come back. People die and come back. So he prayed the Lord have mercy upon him, because he knew people tend to come back. All right? He was praying for them. Go ahead.
And also in that he perceived that there was great favor laid up for those that died godly.
Right.
It was an holy and good thought, whereupon he made a reconciliation for the dead, that they might be delivered from sin.
Right, so it's a good thought, because that's not guaranteed. He sent our prayers for him anyway, but it was a good thought, because it's not guaranteed that him doing that will grant them resurrection to life, because they still died in the midst of idolatry. But he prayed in hopes that he'll see them again. That's what he was saying. That's why I says it was a good thought by him doing that. This doesn't prove that he sent up prayers to people who died and they get the kingdom. It was saying that he sent up prayers that the Lord have mercy upon them for dying in the midst of that sin. And he also sent money back to send up offerings in Jerusalem to pray for those who are still alive, that in the midst of sin, the Lord pardoned it for the men who are still alive. But it was a good thought because it's not guaranteed that even though he prayed for the dead who died in the midst of that sin, they're guaranteed the kingdom.
And also
He couldn't guarantee that. Only Christ can guarantee that. He can't. He's a man. He can't guarantee that.
Right.
Yes.
Just like David, when David committed adultery and with the son, he was praying for the son.
Right.
He said, hoping that the Most High will forgive him, not kill the child.
Right. Exactly. That's a perfect example.
Hey,
So-
Deke,
yeah.
you know it's heavy also.
Because Christians use this to go see the Apocrypha is pagan because it tells you that Judas Maccabees prayed for the dead that the Lord can forgive them, forgive their sins. That's not biblical. It says there's a good thought, meaning that he thought in hopes that these men will their sins will be pardoned because they died in the midst of that sin. He knew that people come back and die or come back and live forever. He understood that. So he's hoping that the Lord have mercy upon these guys to be resurrected again and come back and the Lord have mercy upon them. Like that dude that died, the dude, for example, that died next to the Messiah. The malefactor. That's a perfect example. He said, Lord, let me join you in paradise. You're going to call me in paradise. That man was a believer and he fell off. But the Lord said, I have mercy on you. It happens. These things, David fell off and he came back on. It happens. These things tend to happen. All right? But the Messiah is the only one that can truly know for certain whether or not you're good or not. Maccabees is a good thought. You guys someone has something to say? I'm sorry.
Jess, go ahead.
You guys were saying?
No, I was gonna say that it's heavy that even though throughout the wars and all of that, and even with Judas calling on the Lord, these men was there when Judas was calling the Lord, and seeing that the Lord was helping us throughout the fight, these men still didn't believe. They were still in the midst of their sin. They didn't believe at all.
13, verse 1.
Yes, sir. 2 Maccabees chapter 13 and verse 1. In the 149th year, it was told Judas that Antiochus Eupator was coming with a great power into Judea, and with him Lysias his protector.
Right, the one who groomed him up as Antiochus passed on. Go ahead. Epiphanes passed on. Go ahead.
And ruler of his affairs, having either of them a Grecian power of footmen, and 110,000, and horsemen 5,000, and 300, and elephants 2 and 20.
Yeah, 22 big elephants. 22 huge elephants. Now these elephants you're reading about right here, you're thinking to yourself, oh, the ones you see in the zoo. No.
Negative.
These elephants are a little bit bigger than ones that we're accustomed to. This is thousands of years ago. So the animal sizes back then were a lot bigger than now.
The movie?
It's a movie, I believe it's called Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Right.
Lord of the Rings is a prime example. Remember, we read earlier, an evil villain named Sauron that Maccabees and them fought against. Sauron. That's the villain in Lord of the Rings. His name is Sauron.
And you know which movie too?
King Arthur.
King Arthur.
King Arthur as well.
those
Right.
was
King Arthur
huge.
shows that too. The huge. But that was a bit overboard. But
Right.
but Lord of the Rings is it's kind of the same, somewhat.
Yeah. So one
It's
of
an
the
example. Yeah, you can use that as an example, definitely.
one of those relatives of the elephant, which is huge, bigger in size than the mammoth.
The woolly mammoth, yes,
Yeah,
the woolly
like on
mammoth.
The size of the mammoth, and probably was bigger than those
Yep.
back then.
And elephants 2 and 20, and 300 chariots armed with hooks.
So you're probably wondering, why am I emphasizing on the size of the elephants for? You're going to see why as we read on. Why I'm emphasizing on the importance of the size of the elephants and why he had so many. Because elephants being huge, they step on you, you finish. They can knock you with their trunk, grab you and slam your ass on the floor. The elephants trained the right way. Oh, they have the horns too, the ivory. They're a problem.
And I think they had the spike too. They put in
They're armored. They're armored. The animals are also armored. They had armored animals. They had armored animals as weapons. It says beasts. The Greeks used animals as weapons, including elephants. But you don't watch.
Verse 3. Menelaus also joined himself with them.
This nigga, man. This dude, I hate this guy. This is a Jake. Menelaus is the worst. Yo, this guy's the worst, bro. He's worse than the heathen. He was the worst. This guy sought the priesthood. This is Simon's brother, I believe. Hold on.
Can't stand that name. Right?
Yo, I can't stand this dude. Hold on. Is it 423? Hold on. I think this is Simon's brother. Hold on a second. Yep, Simon's brother. Back in chapter 4 and 23. Menelaus, the aforesaid Simon's brother. This guy's the worst. He's still around, still alive. Go ahead.
Menelaus also joined himself with them, and with great dissimulation encouraged Antiochus, not for the safeguard of the country,
He didn't encourage Antiochus to protect the country or his people. Go ahead.
but because he thought to have been made governor.
This guy still wants status. Still fighting for status. He almost got killed the first time for status. Remember, he went against Jason and overthrew Jason.
Right.
Now he's trying to get power again. Go ahead.
But the King of Kings moved Antiochus' mind against this wicked
Thank
wretch.
God.
All praise.
The Lord moved his mind, Antiochus' mind against this dude. Go ahead.
And Lysias informed the king that this man was the cause of all mischief.
Everything, all the problems that arise is from this guy. Remember, Antiochus, when he was away, this guy, Menelaus, was causing mad problems. Having it where it was believed that the Jews were rebelled against the Greeks. They didn't. Menelaus took advantage of the fact that Antiochus was away and caused problems. So Lysias is saying, yo, this guy is a problem, is a troublemaker right here. Go ahead.
So that the king commanded to bring him unto Berea and to put him to death.
Yes. Go ahead.
As the manner is in that place.
Berea is a place where you get put to death. Go ahead.
Now there was in that place a tower of 50 cubits high, full of ashes.
Full of ashes. Go ahead.
And it had a round instrument, which on every side hang down unto the ashes.
Go ahead.
And whosoever was condemned of sacrilege or had committed any other grievous crime, there did all men thrust him unto death. Such a death it happened that wicked man to die.
Good.
Not having so much as a burial in the earth, and that most justly. For in as much as he had committed many sins about the altar, whose fire and ashes were holy, he received his death in ashes.
All praises. He got stabbed and his body was dropped in ashes. Go ahead.
Now the king came with a barbarous and haughty mind to do far worse to the Jews than had been done in his father's time.
This guy was worse than his father against the Jews. Go ahead.
Which things, when Judas perceived, he commanded the multitude to call upon the Lord night and day, that if ever at any other time he would now also help them, being at the point to be put from their law, from their country, and from the holy temple.
Because that was the nation's, that was Antiochus Epiphanes' whole plan, to have us put from the law, from our country, and from the temple. Watch this.
And that he would not suffer the people that had even now been but a little refreshed, and to be in subjection to the blasphemous nation.
That was his purpose, to enslave us again. Go ahead.
Now when they had all done this together, and besought the merciful Lord with weeping and fasting, and lying flat upon the ground 3 days long, Judas, having exhorted them, commanded they should be in a readiness. And Judas, being apart with the elders, determined before the king's host should enter into Judea and get the city, to go forth and try the matter and fight by the help of the Lord.
Come on.
So when he had committed all to the Creator of the world, and exhorted his soldiers to fight manfully, even unto death, for the laws, the temple, the city, the country, and the commonwealth, he camped by Modin. And having given the watchword to them that were about him, victory is of God. With the most valiant and choice young men, he went into the king's tent by night, and slew in the camp about 4,000 men, and the chiefest of the elephants.
Killed the elephants too. Go ahead.
With all that were upon him.
He killed the elephants. Go ahead.
And at last they filled the camp with fear and tumult, and departed with good success. This was done in the break of day, because the protection of the Lord did help him.
Damn. Go ahead.
Now when the king had taken a taste of the manliness of the Jews, he went about to take the holds of policy by policy.
He tried to go a diplomatic route to overthrow us by law. Go ahead. Watch this.
And marched towards Bethsura, which was a stronghold of the Jews.
Right. Bethsura was the fort of the Jews. Go ahead.
But he was put to flight, failed, and lost of his men.
But he was put to flight. He tried to take over the fort of Bethsura. Put to flight, failed, go ahead, and lost his men. Go ahead.
For Judas had conveyed unto them that were in it such things as were necessary.
Judas had reminded them, this guy Antiochus is going to come here and try to overthrow y'all. Be prepared. And they fought him off and got him out of there. Go ahead.
But Rhodocus,
another evil Negro. Go ahead.
who was in the Jews' host, disclosed the secrets to the enemies.
Oh, gosh. Go ahead.
Therefore, he was sought out.
We found out who it was.
And when they had gotten him, they put him in prison.
Threw his black behind in jail. Go ahead.
The king treated with them in Bethsura the second time, gave his hand, took theirs, departed, fought with Judas, was overcome.
Right. Read again, do 22 again.
Yes,
wait, 20? Stop there. Go to 1 Maccabees 6:18. Regarding him, Bethsura, him being overthrown, loss of his men, all of that stuff. We're going to stop there. Go to 1 Maccabees 6:18. We're going to read to verse 46.
Sir.
Hold on a second before you read that. Hold on.
And Dig, I want you to forget the point about the size of the elephants.
I didn't forget.
Okay,
I'm
good.
looking something up right now regarding that. Come on. Oh yeah, this is it. First Maccabees 6, and we're gonna be verse 18 to 46. I didn't forget that at all. It's coming up soon. This is the second Maccabees. We just read from 13.
Yeah, 13 to 22.
This ties into First Maccabees 6, 18 to 46. This is the same history.
First Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 18.
Regarding the Bethsura, the fort, him being turned away, all of that's kind of explained in here. But kind of scattered around, so just bear with me a moment. First Maccabees 6:18.
About this time, they that were in the tower shut up the Israelites round about the sanctuary, and sought always their hurt and the strengthening of the heathen. Wherefore, Judas purposing to destroy them, caused all the people together to besiege them. So they came together and besieged them in the 150th year, and he made mounts for shot against them, and other engines. Howbeit, certain of them that were besieged got forth, unto whom some ungodly men of Israel joined themselves.
Here we go. Evil Negroes again. Some of them that were besieged got forth, unto whom some ungodly men of Israel joined themselves. Go ahead.
And they went unto the king and said, How long will it be ere thou execute judgment and avenge our brethren? We have been willing to serve thy father, and to do as he would have us, and to obey his commandments.
Wow, to obey the Greeks' commandments. Go ahead.
For which cause they of our nation besiege the tower,
The Jews in them. Besiege the tower. Go ahead.
and are alienated from us. Moreover, as many of us as they could light on, as many as us as they could light on, they slew.
Yeah, we were killing them. We were killing. You had Jews in them killing evil ass Jews. Good. Go ahead.
And spoiled our inheritance.
Right, took their land from them. Go ahead.
Neither have they stretched out their hand against us only, but also against all their borders. And behold, this day are they besieging the tower at Jerusalem to take it. The sanctuary also, and Bethsura have they fortified.
Remember that? Bethsura, how they fortified. Remember, so Antiochus is going to go there and try to take it over. Bethsura, how they fortified. It became a fort. Go ahead.
Wherefore, if thou dost not prevent them quickly,
If you don't stop them, go ahead.
they will do greater things than these. Neither shalt thou be able to rule them.
Damn, read it again.
Wherefore, if thou dost not prevent them quickly,
If you don't stop them now, these are Jews talking to white, these are Negroes talking to white folks about how to stop their own people from gaining independence from white folks. These are coons. Go ahead.
they will do greater things than these. Neither shalt thou be able to rule them.
If they will be great, they will do greater things than these. Neither shall they be able to rule them. Going back to what? A threat of leaders. A threat of Messiah. That go with me, John 11 real fast. It's almost the same damn thing here.
Wow.
$49.
Yes, sir. John chapter 11 and verse 49. And one of them, named Caiaphas, being the high priest that same year, said unto them, Ye know nothing at all.
Go above that.
Yes, sir. Verse 48. Verse 47. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said,
These are Jews again. Evil ass Jews side with the white man again. Like the Greeks. Like with the Greeks. Watch this.
and said, What do we? For this man doeth many miracles. If we let him thus alone.
Right, Judas Maccabees was doing miracles too. This man was fighting hundreds of thousands of men with 3,000 men. 2,000 men. He's killing 100,000 versus 2,000. That's miracles. That's not normal. Right. That's providence. That's not no damn. That's of God.
That's right. I think he was going against the mightiest army of the
right,
time.
with inexperienced men.
Man, yep.
Inexperienced fighters. He's fighting men who are groomed and raised from fighting since their birth, and he's killing them. Striking fear into their hearts. These men who've been in countless battles are terrified of a man with men who ever fought in their life. Right. That's miracles. Angels coming down, fighting alongside of him. That's miracles. Don't, oh gosh. You had to say it. You had to say it, shooting the darts. Yes, that's the quote. They were shooting the darts. Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
You couldn't resist. Waiting for that moment.
Yeah, he waiting for that deep.
Hey, man, we went down earlier, remember?
Oh, yes, we did. Yes, we did. Read 27 again.
Yes, sir. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, what do we? For this man doeth many miracles.
This man, or Christ, does many miracles. Go ahead.
If we let him thus alone.
If we leave him alone, go ahead.
All men will believe on him.
He'll rule. He'll become a leader, like we are. Go ahead.
And the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation.
And they'll remove us from power. We'll lose our power if this man takes over. So the Jews, wicked Negro Jews, were hating the Messiah. For the same reason evil-ass Jews are hating Judas Maccabees and them. Go back to there again. 1 Maccabees 6:27 again. That's heavy.
Sir. 1 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 27. Wherefore, if thou dost not prevent them quickly, they will do greater things than these. Neither shalt thou be able to rule them.
Come on.
Now when the king heard this, he was angry and gathered together all his friends and the captains of his army and those that had charge of the horse. Mm-hmm. There came also unto him from other kingdoms and from isles of the sea bands of hired soldiers.
This guy hired mercenaries. Hired soldiers are mercenaries from all different parts of lands of the known world. He hired them to come just to fight Judas and them. Go ahead.
So that the number of his army was 100,000 footmen.
100,000 footmen.
And 20,000 horsemen.
120,000.
And 32 elephants.
32 elephants.
Exercised in battle.
Trained for battle. He had 32 elephants trained for battle. Watch this.
These went through Idumea and pitched against Bethsura.
Bethsura, that fortified place again. Go ahead.
Which they assaulted many days.
Which they attacked. The antagonists in them attacked Bethsura many days. Watch this.
Making engines of war.
Making engines of war. Go ahead.
But they of Bethsura came out and burned them with fire and fought valiantly.
Because remember earlier in 2 Maccabees, Judas gave them a warning in advance on how to deal with those armies. So he could not overtake that fortified city. He couldn't do it. Go ahead.
Upon this, Judas removed from the tower and pitched in Beth-Zacchaeus over against the king's camp. Then the king, rising very early, marched fiercely with his host toward Beth-Zacchaeus, where his army made them ready to battle and sounded the trumpets.
Come on.
And to the end they might provoke the elephants to fight.
So watch this. To get the elephants to fight. But read again. Watch this.
And to the end, they might provoke the elephants to fight.
So the elephants, normally elephants just walk. They walk, whatever, little trap with the little trunk, whatever. So they were something they were used to rouse the elephants up, to get them angry, like really rabid. Watch this.
They shewed them the blood of grapes and mulberries.
So apparently blood of mulberries and grapes is something that was used to wave around the elephant and I guess to get it enraged,
Angry, right.
to enrage it.
It's something about grapes and mulberries.
Something about grapes and mulberries. These elephants, they make them go into a rage. Go ahead.
Moreover, they divided the beasts among the armies.
They divided the beasts among the armies. Watch this.
And for every elephant.
For every 32, they had 32 elephants. So for every elephant, all 32, go ahead.
They appointed 1,000 men, armed with coats of mail.
You had for every elephant, you had 1,000 men on each elephant. They were massive. Massive elephants. Go ahead.
And with helmets of brass on their heads.
No, not on top of them, but they were surrounding them. Let me show you. Surrounding them and on top of them. You had 1,000 men for each elephant. Go ahead, watch this.
with helmets of brass on their heads. And beside this, for every beast were ordained 500 horsemen of the best.
Surrounding it. Go ahead.
These were ready at every occasion, wheresoever the beast was, and whithersoever the beast went, they went also. Neither departed they from
They
him.
traveled with the elephant. Watch this. Come on.
And upon the beast,
Now on top of the beast. Now we're gonna. So we got what's surrounding the beast. So this is called this is the elephant's protection. Or these men. Let me get there. I got you. Then you have what's on top of the beast. Watch this.
and upon the beast
On top of the beast were what?
were there strong towers of
Were
wood,
strong towers of wood. Watch this.
which covered every one of them,
Which covered them. Go ahead.
and were girt fast unto them with devices.
With weapons. Like weapons on top of that. Weapons on top of the elephants. Go ahead.
There were also upon every one 32 strong men that fought upon them, beside the Indian that ruled
The
them.
Persian that ruled them. So the Persians are the ones that were the drivers. The Persians are the ones that drove the elephants like a vehicle. And they had 32 men. It says upon every one, 32 strong men. They had 32 men on each one. 32 men on 32 elephants. 32 on each one. On top of the elephant. So it was huge.
So they raised and groomed those elephants.
They raised
for
and
war.
groomed them for war, right? And they were covered with wood. So you had 32 men inside those fortresses that were built on top of the elephants. You got something for us to see? Where movies you get the ideas from? That's why I was waiting. Let's read this first.
Look how tall they are compared to the men.
See that? Just like that. Just like that. This is not. See the weapons on the tusks. This is not. This is not coincidence that they just put these in movies. These things took place, and our forefathers fought like this. They fought these things and killed them. That's us doing that too. That's Judas and his men. See that? This is crazy.
So they will put the blood on the grave.
Yup, to rouse it up. See the men on top, engines of war, the men on top. That's the Indian right there. Cubs, the Indian riding it. Supposed to be the Indian riding it. That's the leader. Damn, crushed the horse. Yeah. That's it.
Dang.
So that's where to get the ideas and movies from. Lord of the Rings, and again, you read the scriptures, Maccabees, one of the villains of Maccabees was a man named Sauron. The villain of Lord of the Rings, his name was Sauron. And you got the warrior elephants in this movie with men riding them. It's the thing that the Greeks. The Greeks, this is where they got this from.
Hey, Deacon, and going back, our forefathers also used elephants too. Remember
Yes, Hannibal and them, yes.
Across the app.
Yep,
With
the
these
mahouts.
elephants, the mahouts.
They were called mahouts. Yep. That's how Hannibal crossed the Alps the same exact way and conquered Italy. Same
Right.
exact thing.
And also, Deke, in Esau history, they always confuse it just to not show you how, like, for example, the maps. They decrease the size of the continents.
Yep.
Make everywhere look bigger than
All the
Africa.
all the dark continents look
Look
smaller,
smaller.
and the white continents look bigger.
Exactly. So in this image right here too, if you could pull that up, it shows you 3 different mammoths. The biggest one being I think the Colombian. The second one is the African, and the third one I think is the
the
one
regular
of
one.
the Americas or whatever. But even with this image, as we can see in a past clip, they were bigger than that. That's
Yes.
a 6-foot tall man standing there, and you see the size of the biggest Colombian mammoth.
Right. So that's like me standing next to. That's like me standing next to. The elephant, pretty
Exactly.
much.
But it goes to show you they were even bigger than that.
Right.
They were
Twice the
even
size.
bigger than that.
Right.
Hey, go to the other image we had up there. We're going to show you how they decreased the stature. Check this one out now.
Wow.
Now, look at the size of that. Look at the people standing under it. So
Yeah.
that's like the closest to the one we just saw in the clip.
Yes.
And they were bigger than that.
And you got if you build a fort on top of it, 32 men can ride
Right.
on top of that horse.
Exactly.
With one can control it and one to control. All right. So this is not fairy tale. We're reading history here.
Absolutely.
So a lot of these movie writers, the Bible is the main source of almost every screenplay you could think of, and whether it be an anime, whether it be an actual movie, action, drama, it's Bible based. The Bible is by far the most emulated. It's by far the most emulated. Excuse me, damn that food, man. Yeah. By far the most emulated book ever. It's not. That's why the Bible ain't going nowhere. And so, well, it will eventually when they start getting tired of us. But in terms of like creativity and screenwriting and screenplay, all directors and writers all refer to that Bible. And whether it be the protagonist, the antagonist, someone's gonna be Jacob and someone's gonna be Esau. Someone's gonna be Cain and someone's gonna be Abel. Someone's gonna be David and someone's gonna be Saul. It's always the same. The Bible is the book that brings out the historical and prophetical battle of good versus evil. That's the Bible hands down. In every movie and anime you could think of or cartoon you could think of, all the ideas of these writers come from the Bible. Most of these writers are damn so-calleds.
Yep.
Star Wars, biblical. Jedi is Judah. The Jedi is the prophets and the Sith is niggas. Evil black niggas. The Sith. Darth Sidious wearing black. That's evil Jake. That's evil. And then they're evil pretty much. Or pretty much Edom pretty much. You can say Edom on Jake that followed behind them, which is the Sith. And you have the Jedi, which is Judah. Yoda is Judah too. Almost saying George Lucas, he's a so-called. That's his stuff.
Yep. Marvel Comics.
Marvel, what's his name?
Stan Lee.
Stan Lee.
Stan Lee.
He's another one. Because Lee is a short. Lee is Lee Steen. It's a shortening of his name. Lee is not the whole name. He's a so-called also. And Jack Kirby, he is too.
Right. Yes, sir.
Hey, Deacon.
Yeah.
Even one of the worlds in Star Wars is called Joppa, and that was a city in Jerusalem.
Right. Star Wars is Joppa. Right. It's all biblical, man. I'm telling you straight. All these movies you watch, like, wow, this is crazy. The only thing different is that the evil writers make the good guys, make the good guys the bad guys. Mm-hmm. And the bad guys the good guys. That's the only difference. That's Hollywood for you.
Right.
And Deacon
Right?
also,
And the seduction.
also in these movies, you couldn't fathom, because Esau, in their movies, they're going to make it a fairy tale. So when you read the history, you can't put your mind to think that we had elephants that big or anything like that, because a lot of Esau movies, they become fairy tale oriented, or you know, so our people look at it with the mind of
Harry Potter kind of stuff.
Right.
Look at the mind like that.
That happened.
This happened.
That's actual battles that took place. We fought in those battles and won them victoriously.
Dang.
So where we at?
Verse 37 again.
Yes, 37 again.
First Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 37. And upon the beasts were there strong towers of wood, which covered every one of them, and were girt fast unto them with devices. There were also upon every one.
Girt fast means they basically had seatbelts. They were girt fast unto them, meaning the elephants, with devices, so they can hang off, they can swing down, shoot the arrow, go back up. They had damn seatbelts on the elephant. Go ahead.
There were also upon every one 32 strong men that fought upon them, beside the Indian that ruled him.
The driver. Go ahead.
And as for the remnant of the horsemen, they set them on this side and that side at the 2 parts of the host, giving them signs what to do. and being harnessed all over amidst the ranks.
Damn, give them signs of what to do. The elephants where to go, where to move, which direction to walk. Go ahead.
Now when the sun shone upon the shields of gold and brass, the mountains glistered therewith.
Damn, the reflection of the shields on the mountains. Go ahead.
And shined like lamps of fire.
Damn, go ahead.
So part of the king's army being spread upon upon the high mountains, and part on the valleys below, they marched on safely in order.
They marched on safely and in order. And guess what? We did the same thing. Go ahead.
Wherefore all that heard the noise of their multitude, and the marching of the company, and the rattling of the harness were moved.
Damn.
For the army was very great and mighty.
The earth was shaking. That's how large it was. Go ahead.
Then Judas and his host drew near and entered into the battle, and there were slain of the king's army 600 men. Eleazar also, surnamed Savaron,
Right, this is Judas Maccabee's brother. Go ahead.
perceiving that one of the beasts armed with royal harness.
Stop. The beast is the elephants. It was armed with the royal harness. These elephants were armored too. They were armored as well, with men riding on them. So you couldn't just shoot the elephant with an arrow because they were armored.
Right.
Go ahead.
Hey, D, we gotta read this slow, man.
Yeah, read again.
What verse you want? Quote the chapter and verse.
First Maccabees chapter 6, verse 43.
Read verse 42.
Verse 42. Then Judas and his host drew near and entered into battle. And there was slain of the king's army 600 men.
So far, he killed 600 men of this army of men with elephants, thousands around the elephants. He killed 600 thus far. Go ahead. Watch this. While they had elephants and animals. Go ahead.
Eleazar also, surnamed Savaron,
Right. One of the Hasmonean sons. Go ahead.
perceiving that the one of the beasts armed with royal harness was higher than all the rest.
He was bigger than all the rest. Go ahead. Armed with the royal harness and bigger than the rest. Go ahead.
And supposing that the king was upon
He
him.
assumed, based upon how this elephant's size and look, the king, because remember the king, unlike today, the king today is a president that's old and falls up the stairs and makes crack pipes legal. That's the legal. That's your king today.
Shout out to Sleepy Joe.
Crack pipes make him legal.
I was just about to ask you how he
Stupid ass.
sounds.
So back then the king fought the battles as well in the forefront.
Right.
So Eleazar's assumption was the king has to be on that elephant there. Go ahead. Based upon his look and size and how majestic it looked. Go ahead.
And supposing that the king was upon him, put himself in jeopardy to the end he might deliver his people and get him a perpetual name.
Yeah, he wants to see what a name for himself. Go ahead. His brother, remember, he plays in his brother's shadow. Judas Maccabees is the main guy. Got the names. I want a name for myself too. I'm his brother. I want a name for myself too, not Judas's brother. On my own, so he wanted a name for himself. Go ahead.
Wherefore he ran upon him courageously through the midst of the battle.
So, listen, remember what you saw earlier, that video of that battle. All them people and stuff, elephants and horses riding around. Eleazar was into the midst of that. Watch this. On foot. Watch this.
He ran upon him courageously through the midst of the battle, slaying on the right hand and on the left.
He started to slay. He started to kill so many people. He made a path for himself. He laid a path. He's killing on the left, killing on the right, and then falling down, dropping dead, and making a path for himself toward the elephant. You know how fast this man is moving to do this stuff?
Deacon, that's crazy, man.
You know how fast he's moving to do this? Go ahead.
So that they were divided from him on both sides.
You see what he made a path for himself. Dang. They couldn't stop him. He's just killing everybody. He was a problem. All these dudes, all 5 sons were a problem. Go ahead.
Which done, he crept under the elephant.
So once he made a path for himself, he got under that big elephant. Go ahead.
And thrust him under.
And he stabbed under it. Go ahead. And there's no armor. Go ahead.
And slew him.
And killed the elephant. Go ahead. But unfortunately, go ahead.
Whereupon the elephant fell down upon him.
Damn.
And there he died.
And he got crushed to death. But he assumed by doing that, he killed the king. He got the king with the elephant would have fell, and the king would have died too. But the king wasn't in that. The king wasn't there, so he ended up being killed. So that's 1 down out of the 5 brothers now. So now we're down to 4 brothers. All right. We'll stop there. If you have any questions, I want you to call us once again. Call us. Call us at 267-702-6121 regarding any questions or comments regarding the class. Call us at 267 702-6121. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to give y'all some time to think on any questions you may have or comments you may have regarding what we've gone over thus far, regarding this topic of our righteous and brave black forefathers.
Right.
And we're reading about thus far. All right, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The scriptures say, where there is no vision, the people perish.
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV.
Do you know your history?
I'm going to show you and prove to you that the Israelites are black, were always black.
Dance for time, just move up your body. Don't get loose and groove on the body. Bruise, wine.
Put on the armor, the procedure complete. Me nah go back, nah retreat. All traitors, every Jezebel must get delete. Me no sleep on a demon, me keep a full clip. Conspire me downfall, cause them want to me slip. Stay close to the real ones, we seal off and legit. Cause I gotta use them to keep your soul from the pit. This a war life, I swear the damn thing.
So why you
This evil heart. Look at what you started, tearing us apart. Wisdom has departed. This is a toxic relationship. How did I get over this? I can't do no longer. Must be system stronger. Have to do better. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? Why you calling me? Why you calling me? These thoughts are getting louder, and I can't stand the sound. Desperately wicked mind. I know you by the force you bear. Now you are one of a kind. I don't need your soul, get out of here. This is a toxic relationship. How did I get into this? I'm changing my discipline and you are complicating things. I gotta stay away from sin. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? Why you calling me? Why you calling me? These thoughts are getting louder, and I can't stand the sound of you. It's the sound of you. It's the sound of you. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? Why you calling me? Why you calling me? These thoughts are getting louder, and I can't stand the sound of you.
to say when words can't come out of my mouth? And if so, why am I misunderstood? But I gave you everything that's inside me. I guess not, because my outside remains swole. And I was thinking I could do anything I want. In and out the club, in and out the church, all I want. Hanging with the bros, sleeping with the girls, all I want. Smoking all the weed, doing all the drugs, all I want. I thought you said you would still love me, as long as I said in my heart that I truly believe. Well, I'm a believer in you, I'm a believer in truth. I'm a believer in truth, but I'm a believer in proof. If I'm a believer in proof, then how did I get from the truth? And I want to give you all of me without reason of having to say goodbye. Don't let me go. Don't let me go. I want to live, want to be free. Take these shackles off of me. Please don't let me go. I was lost, but I am back again. Hoping that you can set me free from the washing of generations. I'll take these shackles off of me. I am told that you hate the sinner and the sin, and they both relate. So if I'm the sinner, then I am the one that you truly hate. I am ashamed, your word I profane, and now I confess to you. If I could go back, then I would go back and keep it right with you. I was young, love, and I was dumb in all of my ways. I was hateful and unrighteous in my ways. Now I can seek your love, because it is your truth. Because it is your truth, I know it is you. And I'm sorry for letting you down, oh my God. And now I repent and hope to get it right. Don't let me go. Please don't let me go. Yeah. Apologize for all my crimes. Seeking you 1,000 times. Just please don't let me go.
Sacrifice was given to the 12.
It's time for y'all to pull your head out the ass and wake up.
All right, we're back from the break. Let's get 2 Maccabees 11-9 regarding us fighting against these beasts. I mentioned how we fought against wild beasts, and I'm gonna do it the questions after I pull this. 2 Maccabees 11 and verse 9. You read it, but I think I bypassed it. When I got upset about Menelaus' name, pissed me off, kind of threw me off track, went to a dark place. 2 Maccabees 11-9, read that.
Oh, so it was First Maccabees, sorry. 2 Maccabees, chapter 11 and verse 9.
Bring it out.
Then they praised the merciful God altogether and took heart, and so much that they were ready not only to fight with men,
the armies of men, go ahead,
but with most cruel beasts, and to pierce through walls of iron.
See that? They were ready to fight men, animals, because the Greek armies had animals as their weapons as well, and they were ready to pierce through walls of iron that they had to. All right? Now, questions. Let's go to that.
I got it.
Got it? Okay.
Shalom, Deacon, Most High in Christ bless. That history reminded me also of the opening scene of Ragnarok when Thor was swinging the hammer and taking out those demons.
Right, I remember that. Yep, that was a good scene.
You bring the scripture to life and make it exciting. Thank you. And this is for IT. IT, you're being recognized out there. IT, what happened to the music for when Deacon get hype?
Yeah, man.
Damn.
It was on the episode when Captain Joel was last on.
Damn.
Damn, bro.
But anyway, all praises to the Most High in Christ for all of you. I can't wait for the Middle Ages.
Yes, sir. I can't wait for that, too. Yes, ma'am. I can't wait for that as well. I'm looking forward to the Middle Ages as well. Where my music at, man? I go to that angry place. I need my music.
Hey, hold on. Pull that back. I hope I pronounced the name right. It's Saoirse. From Newark, New Jersey, Irvington, New Jersey School. All praises, sis.
Shout out to Jersey School.
Shout out to Jersey School. All
Anybody
praises.
got somebody else? All right. What else we got
Okay.
here?
Shalom, Deek and brothers. Most High in Christ bless you all. My question is, during the time of Judas Maccabees, what other tribe besides Judah were in Israel?
Other tribes besides Judah were in Israel during the Maccabees' time? Benjamin and Levi were in Judea during that time. Because Northern Kingdom was scattered. Well, remnants of Northern Kingdom were there. Yeah, remnants of Northern Kingdom were there. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi were there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So I'd say, pretty much remnants of the Northern Kingdom and Judah, Benjamin, and Levi.
And the Maccabees, they were Levi.
And the Maccabees were Levi, right. The Maccabees were Levi. And remember, you had evil-ass Simon. He was Benjamin. Right. Evil Simon was Benjamin. Menelaus is Simon's brother. He's Benjamin. So you had Judah, Benjamin, and Levi in the land at the time, and remnants of Northern Kingdom as well. All right? That's who was in the land at the time.
Very good question. Very good question.
Mm-hmm.
Just always do remember, we would like to know our callers and subscribers and what town they're from. And we always encourage you to learn more with the school. So please include your name and what area you're listening from.
Mm-hmm. So where we at? That's it? Any more? Oh, good. Perfect. Great. Right.
Right. This one says, Shalom, Most High in Christ, blessed deacon and family. Is it wrong to say the war elephants and their setup sounds like a precursor to German blitzkrieg?
German blitzkrieg? I'm unfamiliar with that. German blitzkrieg? Well, copy and paste it. Let's see what we get with that one.
This brother Haziah Shakar from Detroit. And this is brother Haziah Shakar from Detroit.
Okay, well,
Detroit in the building.
Detroit in the
All
building.
praises.
Let me see what you're referring to, bro. I'm going to look and see what you're talking about. What's this say?
Yeah, image.
What's it say?
Hit the pronunciation real quick. Let me see. I don't know if you could hear it. You probably won't be able to hear it. All right.
Let's go to the definition.
What does it say? Blow it up.
Said Blitzkrieg, an intense military campaign intended to bring about a swift victory.
Blitzkrieg. Yeah, it's Blitzkrieg. That's how you pronounce it. Blitzkrieg. Go to images. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it says it's a military doctrine in which a surprise attack using a rapid, overwhelming force, concentration, stop moving it, concentration that may consist of armored and motorized or machinized infantry formations.
Right. Yeah, I can say that. In that instance, yes.
Blitzkrieg.
Blitzkrieg.
Blitzkrieg. Okay.
Blitzkrieg. Okay.
So they mentioned a war engine.
Right. The war engines that was on top were actually used. Right. Were used, and they were on top of the elephants as well. So yes.
And very, very great point, because as you can see, even with Hannibal, they learned how to use those elephants in war.
Yeah, the mahouts.
Yeah, through our skillful and tactical skills of our forefathers. So this probably derives from that also.
Yeah, they're just using machines.
Yeah, using tanks.
Right, using tanks now rather than elephants.
Brother must be a military man. He must be military.
Yeah, because Hannibal was a military man too.
All right, all praises. Beautiful questions, guys. All right, that's it for the questions, right? All right, yep. We're moving on.
There's an example of what Eleazar did to get to in that battle.
I want that bow and arrow, man. I want that bow.
Oh, that bow and arrow? Yeah. We showed that last week, I think. We showed that last week. Press play to show how Eleazar may have been, if not better. Of course, it was better.
Absolutely.
Fighting in the midst of paving a path for himself towards the elephant. Here's an example, a basic example, somewhat. Go ahead. This is called the Immortals. That's the main villain right there. He's going after him. So how fast he's going, right to left. Boom. All right, so pause. That's it. So this movie basically is about your mythical Christianity version of what heaven and hell is. Titans versus Titans and gods fighting and all that other BS and hell and Hades and Titans and gods battling and all that stupid nonsense. It's the same thing. All right, the movies action fighting action sequences are great. The action sequences in terms of fighting scenes are great. It's called The Immortals. The actor is Henry Cavill, the Superman, Man of Steel guy. That's him there. All right, where we at? First Maccabees 6, and we're gonna continue at verse 47 until the end.
Yes, sir. First Maccabees chapter 6 and verse 47. Howbeit the rest of the Jews, seeing the strength of the king and the violence of his forces, turned away from them. Then the king's army went up to Jerusalem to meet them, and the king pitched his tents against Judea and against Mount Zion. But with them there were in Bethsura, within Bethsura he made peace, for they came out of the city because they had no victuals there to endure the siege, it being a year of rest to the land. So the king took Bethsura and set a garrison there to keep it. As for the sanctuary, he besieged it many days and set there artillery with engines and instruments to cast fire and stones and pieces to cast darts and slings.
Right, darts. Laquat. There you go. Darts. These damn darts, man. Where we at? What verse is that?
Verse
51?
Yes, sir.
Keep going.
Verse 52. Whereupon they also made engines against their engines and held them battle a long season.
So they were trying to get through that fort. Go ahead.
Yet at the last, their vessels being without victuals,
no food,
for that it was the 7th year, and they in Judea that were delivered from the Gentiles had eaten up the residue of the store.
Right, they're running out of supplies. Go ahead.
There were but a few left in the sanctuary, because the famine did so prevail against them, that they were fain to disperse themselves, every man to his own place. At that time Lysias heard say that Philip, whom Antiochus the king, whilst he lived, had appointed to bring up his son Antiochus, that he might be king, was returned out of Persia and Media.
All right, so this is the part you want to deal with. It says, but few up in the sanctuary because the famine did so prevail against them, that they were fain to disperse themselves, every man to his own place. At that time, during this time, Lysias heard say that Philip, whom Antiochus the king, whilst he lived, in Epiphanes, while he lived, had appointed to bring up his son Antiochus, that he might be king. So at the time when Lysias was raising up Eupator as king, you had Philip, okay, who was also the king's right-hand man as well, aside from him. He got word what he was doing. Watch this. Was returned.
Yes, sir. Verse 56. Was returned out of Persia.
So Philip returned out of Persia. Go ahead.
And Media. And the king's host also that went with him. And that he sought to take unto him the ruling of the affairs.
Because he was second to the king. So he was trying to basically become king himself as well. But some of the king's men were loyal to him. Not the king as in Antiochus Eupator, but Antiochus Epiphanes' men. Some of them were more so loyal to Philip than they were to Lysias and the king's son. All right, so he basically rebelled. Okay, go ahead.
Wherefore he went in all haste and said to the king and the captains of the host and the company, we decay delay, and our victuals are but small, and the place we lay siege.
Read again. I'm sorry.
Verse 57. Yes,
read
sir.
again.
Wherefore he went in all haste and said to the king and the captains of the host and the company, we decay delay.
We decay daily. He's delay. The hell?
Sorry, daily. Sorry.
Oh, jeez. Oh, gosh.
Jesus,
Oh, man.
He probably got some leave on
Delay.
his blood.
Oh, wow.
That's that demon on
We
his shoulder.
decay daily.
Daily.
Delay is D-E-L-A-Y. This is D-A-I-L-Y. Daily. Thank you.
Why you, my friend? Why you say things you don't see, my friend? Why you do that?
We decay daily. Go ahead.
We decay daily.
So remember, they were trying to fight against the fort of Bethsura. Our people were in the fort of Bethsura, running out of food and resources while fighting against this besiegement. The Greeks themselves are also running out of food, trying to overthrow the fort. So both of us, so it's like a battle for survival. At this point, both sides running out of food. So let's just stop this, man. We're not gonna get into the fort. We're running out of food and rations while trying to besiege this tower. Let's just get up out of here because Philip's trying to take over. We got bigger things to worry about now. Go ahead, watch this.
And our victuals are but small, and the place we lay siege unto is strong.
Because Judas gave them advice on how to keep the Greeks off. Go ahead.
And
we read that earlier in 2 Maccabees. This is more detail.
Right.
Go ahead.
And the affairs of the kingdom lie upon us.
And the affairs of the kingdom, because Philip's trying to take over. The affairs of the kingdom are more important that lie upon us. Go ahead.
Now, therefore, let us be friends with these men.
Let's make a league with these men. Remember we read earlier that Antiochus tried to conquer us by policy. We read that earlier in 2 Maccabees. We're going to find out what he tried to do. Go ahead.
And make peace with them.
And make peace with them. We can't overthrow them. Let's make peace with them. Go ahead.
And with all their nation.
And with all of their people. Go ahead.
And covenant with them, that they shall live after their laws.
That's through policy. Watch. He's underhanded. It's evil. Watch. Keep going.
As they did before. For they are thereof displeased. For they are therefore displeased. And have done all these things because we abolished their laws.
Right, they're fighting us because because it's our fault. We're fighting back against us because we're forcing them to learn our way to follow our ways of life. They have their own laws and their own God. Let's just leave them alone. Watch this.
So the king and the princes were content, wherefore he sent unto them to make peace, and they accepted thereof. Also the king and the princes made an oath unto them, whereupon they went out of the stronghold. Then the king entered into Mount Zion, but when he saw the strength of the place, he brake his oath that he had made, and gave commandment to pull down the wall round about. Afterward departed he in all haste, and returned unto Antiochia.
Well, keep this in mind. And after he departed, he in all haste, go ahead, and returned into Antiochia, go ahead, and Antiochia, go ahead.
Where he found Philip to be master of the city.
And Philip had gained, he became master of that city. Go ahead.
So he fought against him and took the city by force.
So Lysias had a war against Philip. All right, now go back to.
Dick, if I may, can I?
Yeah.
Can you go back to verse 59?
Yeah, 59. Go ahead.
Verse 59. And covenant with them that they shall live after their laws as they did before. For they are therefore displeased and have done all these things because we abolished their laws.
See that? You got to fight for your laws.
Right.
See? You got to fight for it because it's ours. So now the nation respect them.
Right.
Because they stood up.
They
and
weren't
fight for
passive.
it. Right. You understand?
Yep, they didn't
So
sit-
we have to fight for our laws.
Right.
And that's what we're doing.
That's what they were doing at this time. We gave them a hard time. We showed resistance.
Right.
All right, now, where we at?
Never give in.
Never
yep.
give up.
Never
That's
give
right.
up, right.
Never give up. Never give in.
Never give up. Never give in.
Go to...
Never give in. Never give up. Potato, potato.
Yes, yes.
Oh, man.
Yes,
Go to
sir.
2 Maccabees 13 and 18 now. Going back there again.
Tomato, tomato. Which one?
Or delay daily. Chicken guy over here, this guy messing words up over here.
Oh,
Play that song again, man. That Sesame Street song, man.
Oh, man.
I got something for y'all, IT.
Oh, man.
Hey, please do not make our audience upset. Please be on point when
Yep.
Deacon
Deacon went
kicks
to
it
that
off
zone.
and have that music ready.
They decay delay. I'm like, yo, that's not what the word is. Decay, they said like 4 times.
Right.
Yo, 2 Maccabees 13. Oh, there we go. Sweet. I was asking for that too. 2 Maccabees 13. Where we at? 18. Thank you, sir. 18.
Yes, sir. 2 Maccabees chapter 13 and verse 18. Now when the king had taken a taste of the manliness of the Jews, he went about to take the holes by policy.
By what?
By policy.
Remember, he said, you know one thing, let's leave them alone. Let them live their laws. Let's be diplomatic with them. We're fighting against these guys. They're running out of food. We're running out of food. They're tired. We're tired. There's internal fighting amongst us within our own kingdom with Philip over here trying to take over. Let's just deal with them by policy. That's what Esau does. When he knows he can't beat you militarily, he'll try politically or religiously. That's what he does. And it's still a way, and it's still conquer, it's still warfare. Regardless, it's still warfare in some way or another.
Is it that it's like a Daniel 8:25?
Right, it's exactly. Blue policy, same exact thing. So watch this, read.
And marched toward Bethsura, which was a stronghold of the Jews.
Or the fort. Remember the fort? Fortified area, stronghold, same thing. Go ahead.
But he was put to flight, failed, and lost of his men.
But he was put to flight, lost, and failed of his men because they lost food, they were fighting, people were losing men, they were dying. Go ahead.
For Judas had conveyed unto them that were in it such things as were necessary.
Right, to survive to survive the besiegement. So no one can win. You're not getting in, no one's getting out. We're both gonna just starve. We're gonna fight till we both starve each other out. Someone's gonna lose. Go ahead.
But Rhodicus, who was in the Jews' host,
But Rhodicus, who was in the fort, Jews host, go ahead.
disclosed the secrets to the enemy.
On how to get in. Go ahead.
Therefore, he was sought out, and when they had gotten him, they put him in
You
prison.
locked his evil behind up. Go ahead.
And the king treated with them in Bethsura the second time,
Then he was treated with them the second time. Go ahead.
gave his hand,
Gave his hand, meaning hand as in let's make a treaty. That's policy. Gave his hand. Go ahead.
took theirs,
Took theirs as in a treaty, an agreement. Go ahead.
departed,
Left.
fought with Judas,
Fought with Judas.
was overcome.
Lost. Go ahead.
Heard that Philip, who was left over the affairs of Antioch.
Remember that? We read that earlier. In 1 Maccabees 6. He heard what Philip was doing. Got his own little host try to take over. Philip just came from Persia and Media. Got his own little crew over there trying to take over. Go ahead.
Who was left over the affairs in Antioch, was desperately bent, confounded, entreated the Jews, submitting himself.
So Philip, desperately bent and confounded, he entreated of us. Go ahead. He sided with us. Go ahead.
And swore to all equal conditions, agreed with them,
And made a treaty with us. Go ahead.
and offered sacrifice,
Go ahead.
honored the temple, and dealt kindly with the place,
He tried to ally with us. Philip, go ahead.
and accepted well of Maccabeus, made him principal governor from Ptolemais unto the Gerhanians,
And made Maccabees governor from Ptolemais unto the Geranians. Geranians, go ahead.
came to Ptolemais.
Came to Ptolemais, go ahead.
The people there were grieved for the covenants, for they stormed, because they would make their covenants void.
Go ahead.
Lysias went up to
So it came to Ptolemais. The people there were grieved for the covenants. The people that lived in Ptolemais are angry that Philip and Maccabees made a covenant. Read on, read it, give us again.
Yes, sir. Came to Ptolemais.
Remember, he made Maccabees governor of that area of Ptolemais unto the Geraneans. Go ahead.
The people there were grieved for the covenant.
They were mad. Why? Go ahead.
For they stormed.
They started rioting. Go ahead.
Because they would make their covenants void.
Go ahead.
Lysias went up to the judgment seat, said as much as could be in defense of the cause, persuaded, pacified, made them well affected, returned to Antioch. Thus it went touching the king's coming and departing.
Read 26 again. Read again.
Lysias went up to the judgment seat, said as much as could be in defense of the cause.
Right, in defense of them making an allegiance with the Maccabees. They were angry. Why are you making a covenant with these guys? Remember, these people here in Ptolemais were able to basically rule over us and govern us over and rule over us, have us subjecting to them. But once Maccabees is made governor, guess what? They can't rule over us like that anymore with the Greek policies and stuff. That covenant is done. So now Philip had Lysias to come along, clean up the mess Philip made, and say, listen, man, this is what it is. The treaty's been made. That's it. It's over. Read again.
Lysias went up to the judgment seat, said as much as could be in defense of the cause, persuaded, pacified, made them well affected.
Calm them down.
Returned to Antioch.
To go fight against who? Philip. Go ahead.
Thus it went touching the king's coming and departing.
His coming to fight, and his leaving, because he had to go and handle Philip. Okay? Antiochus, Eupator, and Lysias they came to fight and besiege us, lost, had to go back and deal with Philip. All right? And pacify that situation over there. The Lord turned them away from us. All right? Now, give me 1 Maccabees 7, 1. First Maccabees 7, verse 1.
Yes, sir.
This history we always read all the time regarding you sisters who are watching. It's unfortunate a lot of sisters, well, not unfortunate, but I would say I find it a bit strange that a lot of sisters tend to be the ones that watch the show. They have a strong like for the historical aspect of the show. So this is dedicated to you sisters who are watching. Regarding, I believe this is it right here, right? Is this it? Or is it 2 Maccabees 7?
Second Maccabees 7.
Oh, I'm bugging. Well, too late. Sorry, sisters. I'm thinking about 2 Maccabees 7. We read that already.
Yes, sir.
Way ahead. Well, anyway, I do find it odd that a lot of sisters do find a lot of interest in the history, whatever. Because most of the time, y'all kind of don't really care about that stuff, but all praises y'all do. Brothers as well. It's good to know. 1 Maccabees 7, and we want verse 1. I want more verse 1. Let's see. Yeah, read that. Let's get that.
Yes, sir. 1 Maccabees, chapter 7, and verse 1. In the 150th year of Demetrius, the son of Seleucus, departed from Rome, and came up with a few men unto a city of the sea coast, and reigned there.
Oh, so in the 150th year, Demetrius, the son of Seleucus. Some of y'all may have forgotten this guy, Demetrius. Remember, Antiochus Epiphanes was held a hostage at Rome because Antiochus the Great, his father, had sided with Hannibal to fight against or counsel with Hannibal on the way to fight against the Romans. When the Romans got word that Antiochus III the Great decided to use Hannibal as a counselor to fight against them, they pretty much took him and they conquered him. And they charged him with a penalty, and they basically said, we're going to take your son hostage, Antiochus Epiphanes hostage, until you pay us for that evil, stupid plot of yours. So this money that he owed was damn near generational. It was a lot of, it was like in the billions, I'd assume, in the billions. So Antiochus Epiphanes was made hostage so that that would be the incentive to force Antiochus the Great to pay that penalty. And once that penalty is paid off, Antiochus Epiphanes, his son, goes free. So what ended up happening was Antiochus Epiphanes had a brother named Seleucus Philopator. And Seleucus Philopator, okay, had a son, okay, named Antiochus. And Antiochus, of course, his brother Antiochus Epiphanes killed that son. Remember that? He was 10 years old, had him killed. Then his other son, Demetrius, Seleucus decided to take his son Demetrius and put him as a hostage to free his brother Antiochus Epiphanes. out of bondage. So he gave up his own son Demetrius in exchange for his brother's freedom. So now Demetrius is finally out. He's fine. I guess the debt's paid off, whatever. Demetrius gets his freedom from the hands of being a hostage at Rome. So read again.
Yes, sir. Verse 1.
So this is Antiochus Epiphanes' nephew. Okay?
In the 150th year, Demetrius the son of Seleucus departed from Rome.
He finally got out. He got free. Go ahead.
And came up with a few men unto a city of the seacoast and reigned there.
Go ahead.
And as he entered into the palace of his ancestors, so it was that his forces had taken Antiochus and Lysias.
So his forces, Demetrius' forces, had taken his cousin, Antiochus Eupator, okay, and his protector. Go ahead.
And Lysias, to bring them unto him.
To bring them unto him. Watch this.
Wherefore, when he knew it,
when he knew that those two were in his custody of his men, go ahead.
He said, let me not see their faces.
Yo, I don't want to see these guys alive. Go ahead.
So his host slew them.
They killed those two. Go ahead.
Now when Demetrius was set upon the throne of his kingdom.
So now Demetrius is ruling now. So Antiochus Eupator is dead. Lysias is dead. And Demetrius is now the ruler. Go ahead.
There came unto him all the wicked and ungodly men of Israel.
Here we go again.
Damn.
Wicked Jake again.
Never
go ahead.
fails.
Never fails.
Having Alchemists, who was desirous to be high priest for their captain.
You ever notice our people, the wicked of our people, always seek position? You notice that? The Simon, Menelaus, who else? Jason.
There you
That
go. Bring it out.
nigga the worst.
Bring it out.
That nigga is the worst, man. Menelaus is dead. God, he's dead. Who else? You got
Jason.
Simon, Jason, Menelaus, Rhodicus. That nigga got thrown in jail. Good for him.
Rhodicus is like a William
Now you
O'Neill.
got, William O'Neill.
Gave
And
out
you
the
got
whole
Alchemist. So now you got Alchemist. Now this new guy being raised up to be high priest. Go ahead.
And they accused the people to the king, saying, Judas and his brethren have slain all thy friends and driven us out of our own land.
Here we go. Now they're accusing Judas of removing them up from their land. Why? Because these guys were sellouts. See, they got exiled from the land. They were of no use to their people, and they were no use to the land that they were living in. Get up out of here. You won't be a Greek? Get out of here. Go ahead.
Now therefore, send some man whom thou trusteth, and let him go and see what havoc he hath made among us, and in the king's land, and let him punish them with all them that aid them.
Wow.
Then the king chose Bacchides, a friend of the king, who ruled beyond the flood, and was a great man in the kingdom, and faithful to the king. And him he sent with the wicked alchemist.
With that wicked alchemist.
With that wicked alchemist, whom he had made high priest.
Damn, so he became high priest. Here we go again.
And commanded that he should take vengeance of the children of Israel.
Wow, go ahead.
So they departed, and came with a great power into the land of Judea, where they sent messengers to Judas and his brethren with peaceable words deceitfully. But they gave no heed to their words, for they saw that they were come with a great power. Then did there assemble unto Alchemists and Bacchides a company of scribes to require justice.
Okay.
Now the Assyrians were the first among the children of Israel that saw peace of them.
The Assyrians would be your Judaizers today, or law keepers. All right, the Assyrians. We're gonna find out later on who they become later on. Go ahead.
For said they, one that is a priest of the seed of Aaron is come with this army.
So Alchemist was actually in the line of high priest. He was actually a Levite in that line. But this guy was evil as hell. Alchemist, go ahead.
And he will do us no wrong.
And so they trusted him. Oh, he's an Aaronic line. He's just a good brother. This guy was a Haitian.
Haitian.
He was a Haitian. He wasn't even a Levite at this point. He was a
That's
damn
right.
Haitian at this point.
That's right. They better know the difference.
It's a damn difference.
That's right.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Dig looked at me funny, right?
Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah. That's what I meant. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So he spake unto them peaceably, and sware unto them, saying, We will procure the harm neither of you nor your friends.
He's not going to hurt you. Go ahead. This is
What?
Alchemists now. Alchemists and the Greeks. Go ahead.
Whereupon they believed him. Howbeit, he took of them 60 men,
60 men.
and slew them in one day.
Wow.
According to the words which he wrote. The flesh of thy saints have they cast out, and their blood have they shed round about Jerusalem, and there was none to bury them.
The he wrote was David. David prophesied that this would happen. Now people would be killed in Jerusalem, their bodies would be strewn about the city. When you read Psalms 79 and verse 3. Get that real quick?
Yes, sir.
Stop in verse 1, we're going to read to verse 3. Psalm 79, verse 1 to 3. The words which he wrote is referring to David.
The book of Psalms, chapter 79 and verse 1. O God, the heathen are coming to thine inheritance. Thy holy temple have they defiled.
You have the Greeks. Go ahead.
They have laid Jerusalem on heaps. The dead bodies of thy servants have they given to be meat unto the fowls of heaven.
This is heavy because when you read this, this is the psalm. Asaph wrote this. When you examine this, written by Asaph, when you examine this, he's prophesying of two events. The prophecies tend to be twofold or even more fold than two or threefold. This took place regarding Babylon, and then it took place regarding the Greeks, and then it took place also regarding the Romans. All right? Threefold, really, the captivities. Read again.
O God, the heathen are coming to thine inheritance.
Oh, and now. It's fourfold. You got so-called those bastards up in there, and the bastards of Ashdod. Right. They're in there right now. Tel Aviv, they're in there now. It's fourfold. They're in there right now.
Hey, don't forget the conquistadors too. They come over here.
The conquistadors came on this side of the world. Yeah, damn. It goes on and on.
Hold on, yo.
Read again.
O God, the heathen are coming to thine inheritance. Thy holy temple have they defiled. They have laid Jerusalem on heaps.
Yeah.
The dead bodies of thy servants have they given to be meat unto the fowls of the heaven. The flesh of thy saints unto the beasts of the earth.
Verse 3.
Their blood have they shed like water round about Jerusalem, and there was none to bury them.
Right. So that's going into the time of the Babylonians, the time of the Greeks, Romans, up until even now. They defiled our sanctuary and our inheritance. Same thing. All right? So let's go back. Crazy. And the same people doing it over and over again, if you excluding the Babylonians. But the Greeks, Romans, and so-called, same thing over and over again.
Bastard.
It's the heathen. I mean, I said the heathen. That's the history repeating itself.
Yep. History repeating itself. Read that. Nothing new under the sun.
First Maccabees, chapter 7 and
18.
verse 18. Wherefore, the fear and dread of them fell upon all the people, who said, there is neither truth nor righteousness in them, for they have broken the covenant and oath that they made.
Yeah.
After this, removed Bacchides from Jerusalem, and pitched his tent in Bezeth, where he sent and took many of the men that had forsaken him, and certain of the people also. And when he had slain them, he cast them into the great pit.
Hold on a second. Let me go back to that again. Yeah, do us into a pit. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Verse 20. Then committed he the country to Alchemists, and left him with a power to aid him. So Bacchides went to the king.
Left Alchemists with the land to rule over it. Go ahead.
But Alchemists contended for the high priesthood.
Contended for the high priesthood. This guy's the worst. Go ahead.
And unto him resorted all such as troubled the people, who, after they had gotten the land of Judah into their power, did much hurt in Israel.
This guy got a crew and did much hurt to his own people. The worst. Another Negro. Go ahead.
Now, when Judah saw all the mischief that Alchemist and his company had done among the Israelites, even above the heathen.
Even what?
Even above the heathen.
That's why I don't spend my time cursing out black folk, because white folks, you niggas are the worst. A lot of black folks tend to be even worse than the other nations. Alchemist was doing Alchemist was doing even worse to us than the nations. He was a terrible man, all for power. Go ahead.
He went out into all the coasts of Judea round about, and took vengeance of them that had revolted from him, so that they durst no more go forth into the country. On the other side, when Alchemist saw that Judas and his company had gotten the upper hand, and knew that he was not able to abide their force, he went again to the king and said all the worst of them that he could.
Wow. So he realized Judas Maccabees was coming for his ass. He ran to the king for help. This guy's a coward. He's all tough and stuff when the Greeks was around helping killing his own people. But when the warriors show up, oh, I need help. Ran to the king now. Go ahead.
Then the king sent Nicanor.
Ah, and the king sent who?
Then the king sent Nicanor.
And the king sent Nicanor. The king sent Nicanor. Go ahead.
One of his honorable princes, a man that bare deadly hate unto Israel.
A man that bare deadly hate
Dang.
towards Israel. He bore deadly hate towards us. Hold on a second. Make sure I'm not going too far. That was verse 38?
26.
Let's see, 7. Yeah, stop at 38.
Yes, sir. A man that bare deadly hate unto Israel, with commandment to destroy the people. So Nicanor came to Jerusalem with a great force.
And we're going to read what led up to this deadly hate, because it wasn't initial. It wasn't the initial. Nicanor wasn't like this at first. It just took time for him to reveal himself. He came as a nice guy. We're going to read that later on. But this wasn't the initial hatred he had. He didn't have that initial hatred for Israel at first. This took time. So read again.
Then the king sent Nicanor, one of his honorable princes, a man that bare deadly hate unto Israel, with commandment to destroy the people. So Nicanor came to Jerusalem with a great force, and sent unto Judas and his brethren deceitfully with friendly words, saying, let there be no battle between me and you.
Let's not fight, man. Let's put our beef to the side. Go ahead.
I will come with a few men.
I'll bring a few men. Go ahead.
That I may see you in peace.
That I may speak to you peacefully. Go ahead.
He came.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
He came therefore to Judas, and they saluted one another peaceably. Howbeit, the enemies were prepared to take away Judas by violence, which thing after it was known to Judas, to wit, that he came unto him with deceit, he was sore afraid of him, and would see his face no more. Nicanor also, when he saw that his counsel was discovered, went out to fight against Judas beside Kafar Salama.
What verse you in?
Verse 31.
Go ahead.
Where there was slain of Nicanor's side about 5,000 men.
Damn.
And the rest fled into the city of David.
Go ahead.
After this went Nicanor up to Mount Zion, and there came out of the sanctuary certain of the priests and certain of the elders of the people to salute him peaceably, and to shew him the burnt sacrifice that was offered for the king.
So Nicanor went up to Mount Zion. Go ahead. And came out of the sanctuary. Go ahead.
But he mocked them and laughed at them and abused them shamefully and spake proudly.
Nicanor disrespected the priests in the temple. Go ahead.
And sware in his wrath, saying, unless Judas and his host be now delivered into my hands, if ever I come again in safety, I will burn up this house. And with that he went out in a great rage.
Go ahead.
And the priest entered in and stood before the altar in the temple, weeping and saying, thou, O Lord, didst choose this house to be called by thy name, and to be a house of prayer and petition for thy people.
For who?
And petition for thy people.
A house of prayer and petition for thy people. Go ahead.
Be avenged of this man and his hosts, and let them fall by the sword. Remember their blasphemies, and suffer them not to continue any longer.
All right.
So Nicanor went out of Jerusalem. You said verse 38?
38. Stop there. Now I get 2 Maccabees 14:1. What's time I got left? I'm doing okay. 2 Maccabees 14:1.
2 Maccabees, chapter 14 and verse 1. After 3 years was Judas informed that Demetrius the son of Seleucus, having entered by the haven of Tripolis with a great power and navy, had taken the country and killed Antiochus and Lysias his protector.
So Judas got word that Lysias and Antiochus Eupator were killed by Demetrius. Go ahead.
Now one alchemist.
Remember that same dude from chapter 1 Maccabees chapter 7, alchemist who sought to be high priest because he was a Levite of Aaron's line. Go ahead.
Who had been high priest and had defiled himself willfully in the times of their mingling with the Gentiles.
So this dude, alchemist, defiled himself willfully during the time when the Greeks were forcing us to become Hellenized. He defiled himself willingly.
The hell is
Okay,
this?
go ahead.
Seeing that by no means he could save himself, nor have any more access to the holy altar.
See that?
Came to King Demetrius in the 150th year, presenting unto him a crown of gold and a palm, and also of the bowls which were used solemnly in the temple.
Wow.
and so that day he held his peace. Howbeit, having gotten opportunity to further his foolish enterprise, and being called in the council by Demetrius, and asked how the Jews stood affected, and what they intended, he answered thereunto. Those of the Jews that be called Assyrians.
Those are the Jews that, go ahead, read again.
Those of the Jews that be called Assyrians, whose captain is Judas Maccabeus, nourish war, and are seditious, and will not let the realm be in peace.
Slander again. Guys, slander us again. Go ahead.
Therefore, I, being deprived of mine ancestors' honor, I mean the high priesthood, am now come hither.
Wow, go ahead.
First, verily for the unfeigned care, I have things pertaining to the king. And secondly, even for that I attend the good of mine own countrymen.
Lie.
For all of our nation is no small misery through the unadvised dealing of them aforesaid.
Wow, so our nation is in no small misery through the unadvised dealing of them, as in the Maccabees he spoke about before, aforesaid. These guys are worse. Saying, our people are in worse condition because they're being led by this dude, and not by the white man. That's what he's saying. These guys are worse. Go ahead.
Wherefore, O king, seeing thou knowest all these things, be careful for the country and our nation, which is pressed on every side, according to the clemency that thou readily shewest unto all. For as long as Judas liveth, it is not possible that the state should be quiet.
Wow, as long as this guy's alive, the state can't be quiet. We can't live peacefully with the Greeks. Go ahead.
This was no sooner spoken of him, but others of the king's friends, being maliciously set against Judas, did more incense Demetrius.
So not only did Alchemists say this lie and nonsense, but Demetrius' friends said the same thing. Yeah, he's right. Yeah, these Judas guy is a problem. This Judas guy is an issue. You need to get rid of him. Go ahead.
And forthwith calling Nicanor, who had been master of the elephants, and making him governor over Judea.
Oh, so Nicanor was the master of the elephants. So this guy is experienced in the war. Okay, he was the elephant driver pretty much. Read again.
And forthwith calling Nicanor, who had been master of the elephants, and making him governor over Judea, he sent him forth.
So he sent Nicanor forth as governor of Judea. Go ahead.
Commanding him to slay Judas, and to scatter them that were with him, and to make Alchemists high priests of the great temple.
Wow.
Then the heathen that had fled out of Judea from Judas came to Nicanor by flocks, thinking the harm and calamities of the Jews to be their welfare.
Wow.
Now when the Jews heard of Nicanor's coming, that the heathen were up against them, they cast earth upon their heads, and made supplication to him that had established his people forever, and who always helpeth his portion with manifestations of his presence. So at the commandment of the captain, they removed straight ways from thence, and came near unto them.
I'm sorry, let me go back to that.
Yes,
manifestation of his presence, that means his angels. The manifestation of his presence, that means his angels will always come down and whip ass with him. That's fire. Manifestation of his presence. I didn't want to bypass that thing, man. I had to read that again. It has a little precept there. It has 221. Let me see what that says. Let me see what that says real quick. 221. It manifests signs that came from heaven. Read that?
Yes,
Damn,
sir.
that's a precept.
2 Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 21. And the manifest signs that came from heaven.
Damn, the manifest signs that came from heaven. Go ahead.
Unto those that behave themselves manfully to their honor for Judaism.
Honor for what?
For Judaism.
They behave themselves manfully to their honor for Judaism, which goes back to being what? Assyrians or Judaizers. Same thing. Go ahead.
So that, being but a few, they overcame the whole country and chased barbarous multitudes.
Because the angels are there present with them. Or God's manifesting himself.
And that's the law. Deuteronomy says, if you keep my law, two shall chase 1,000.
Right.
And 10,000.
Yeah, let's get that. Where's that at?
Leviticus 26. Chill out. Yeah, Leviticus 26.
Verse 8. Verse 7. Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 7. And ye shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. And 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight.
Damn.
And your enemies shall fall before you by the sword. For I will have respect unto you, and make you fruitful, and multiply you, and establish my covenant with you.
That's bad.
That's bad.
So we at. I'm writing stuff down.
Yes, sir.
Precepting this together.
2 Maccabees chapter 14 and verse 15 again.
Yeah, 14, 15 again.
Yes, sir. Now when the Jews heard of Nicanor's coming, and that the heathen were up against them, they cast earth upon their heads, and made supplication to him that had established his people forever, and who always helpeth his portion with manifestation of his presence.
Damn, manifestation of his presence. Go ahead. That's bad. Go ahead.
So after the commandment of the captain, they removed straightways from thence, and came near unto them at the town of Desua. Now Simon, Judas' brother, had joined battle with Nicanor,
So at this point, Simon, Judas' brother, had joined battle with Nicanor. Go ahead.
but was somewhat discomforted through the sudden silence of his enemies.
Go ahead.
Nevertheless, Nicanor, hearing of the manliness of them that were with Judas, and the courageousness that they had to
Somewhat discomforted through his silence because his enemies were attacking him from he couldn't see where his enemies were attacking from. They were attacking him and he couldn't really deal with them properly. The way they were attacking in a stealthful manner. The silence of his enemies. Go ahead. So Simon was having a bit of an issue fighting Nicanor's men. They were fighting him in a stealthful way. Or in a stealthful way. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, Nicanor, hearing of the manliness of them that were with Judas, and the courageousness that they had to fight for their country, does not try the matter by sword.
So Nicanor realized, you know one thing, these guys are fighters. I can't beat them by sword. They're obviously skilled. Go ahead.
Wherefore,
So he acknowledged Judas and his brothers' fighting skills were a problem. He acknowledged them. He respected them. Go ahead.
Wherefore, he sent Posidonius and Theodotus and Mattathias to make peace. So when they had taken long advisements thereupon, and the captain had made the multitude acquainted therewith, and it appeared that they were all of one mind, they consented to the covenants.
They agreed. Go ahead.
And appointed a day to meet and together by themselves. And when the day came, the stools were set for either of them. Judas placed armed men ready in convenient places.
Judas had his men stationed somewhere, so if something pop off, he's gonna fight. Go ahead.
Lest some treachery should be suddenly
He ain't trust
practiced.
Nicanor. He ain't trust that dude. Rightfully so. Go ahead.
Lest some treachery should be suddenly practiced by the enemies. So they made a peaceable conference.
The peaceable meeting between Nicanor and his men and Judas and his men. Go ahead.
Now Nicanor abode in Jerusalem and did no hurt.
Because he was a governor, but he had respect for Judas at this point, so he didn't cause no problems. Go ahead.
But sent away the people that came flocking unto him. And he would not.
Those that ran to him to complain about Judas Maccabees, he ignored them. Said, "Now leave me alone. I'm at peace with Judas." Go ahead.
And he would not willingly have Judas out of his sight, for he loved the man from his heart.
Because he had respect for Judas' fighting skill. Watch this.
He prayed him also to take a wife and to beget children.
He told Maccabees, "Yo, why don't you settle down, man? You fight all the time. Why don't you settle down, have a family?" Nicanor's telling Judas this. Settle down, have a family, man. Relax. Go ahead.
So he married, was quiet, and took part of this life.
So Judas married, but he didn't have no children. He ended up had a wife, and took part in life that he wasn't used to, which was being a husband. Go ahead.
But alchemists, perceiving that the love was betwixt them, and considering the covenants that were made, came to Demetrius.
So alchemists, they go to the Negro again, considering that Nicanor and Judas Maccabees are getting along, that could be a problem to him. Go ahead.
Came to Demetrius and told him that Nicanor was not well affected toward the state.
So he got Nicanor in trouble. Nicanor is basically friends with your enemy, king. That's what he's saying. Go ahead.
For that he had ordained Judas, a traitor to his realm, to be the king's successor.
Wow, go ahead.
Then the king, being in a rage, and provoked with the accusation of the most wicked man,
alchemist,
wrote to Nicanor, signifying that he was much displeased with the covenants, and commanding him that he should send Maccabeus prisoner in all haste unto Antiochus.
I don't like this thing with you. I don't like this thing with you and Maccabees being friends. Bring this man to me now. I demand you bring him to me now. Go ahead. Alchemist behind this. Go ahead.
When this came to Nicanor's hearing, he was much confounded in himself, and took it grievously that he should make void the articles which was agreed upon, the man being in no fault.
Judas, get no fault. Go ahead.
But because there was no dealing against the king, he watched his time to accomplish this thing by policy.
So Nicanor knew I couldn't just outright just take Maccabees prisoner, so I had to do it politically. Go ahead.
Notwithstanding, when Maccabees saw that Nicanor began to be churlish unto him.
Churlish
unto him.
So Maccabees realized Nicanor was behaving a bit different with him now. He was being disrespectful towards him now, evil towards him. He said, something's not right with this guy. He's being different now. Because the king, remember, the king's on his neck now. So he's desperate. So now, since he's desperate and his life's on the line, he's trying to convince Maccabees to come along. Remember, he's trying to take him prisoner. So Maccabees like, yo, something wrong with this guy, man. He's different now. He's changed. Go ahead.
And that he entreated him more roughly than he was wont.
Than accustomed to. Go ahead.
Perceiving that such sour behavior came not of good, he gathered together not a few of his men.
Got more men.
And withdrew himself from Nicanor.
Left Nicanor alone.
But
cut Nicanor off. You cannot never, give me that Sirach 12 and 10. That's what Maccabees understood.
The book of the book of Sirach, chapter 12 and verse 10. Never trust thine enemies.
Read again.
Never trust thine enemies.
Remember, before this, Nicanor tried to meet up with Judas before. Remember? And he had a bunch of men set up to try to take him by violence. And he couldn't do it. Now, this time, he tried to set Maccabees up again. Maccabees was like, nah, man, I don't, you have to salvage them. You have to brand new now. I don't trust you. Read again.
Never trust thine enemies.
Never trust thine enemies. Go ahead.
For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
Meaning the rust is there. The evil that Nicanor had for the Jews was always been there. He just needed something to just bring it out. And this was it right here. Go back where you was at.
Yes, sir. Second Maccabees, chapter 14 and verse 31. Verse 30. Notwithstanding, when Maccabees saw that Nicanor began to be churlish unto him, and that he entreated him more roughly than he was wont, perceiving that such sour behavior came not of good, he gathered together not a few of his men, and withdrew himself from Nicanor. But the other, knowing that he was notably prevented by Judas' policy, came into the great and holy temple.
So the other, Nicanor, knowing that he was notably prevented from snatching up Judas by Judas' policy. Remember, they both had their own rules in that conference. Judas had his own, we had our own policies, they had theirs. So Judas used his own policies or articles of the covenant to avoid Nicanor. Nicanor was getting pissed. Go ahead.
Came into the great and holy temple and commanded the priests that was offering their usual sacrifices to deliver him the man.
Yo, listen, bring me Judas, he told them. Go ahead.
And when they swear that they could not tell where the man was whom he saw.
We don't know where Judas is. Go ahead.
He stretched out his right hand
toward the temple. Go ahead.
And made an oath in this manner.
Here we go.
If ye will not deliver me Judas as a prisoner, I will lay this temple of God even with the ground.
I'll burn it to the ground. We read that earlier in Maccabees 7. Go ahead.
And I will break down the altar and erect a notable temple unto Bacchus.
Wow. Go ahead.
After these words he departed. Then the priests lifted up their hands toward heaven and besought him that was ever a defender of their nation, saying in this manner, Thou, O Lord of all things, who has need of nothing, was pleased that the temple of thine habitation should be among us. Therefore now, O holy Lord of all holiness, keep this house ever undefiled, which lately was cleansed.
Right, dedication, go ahead.
And stop every unrighteous mouth.
And stop every unrighteous mouth. Stop right there. So, that is what led up to Nicanor's deadly hatred towards the Jews. That first Maccabees 7 was referring to. Second Maccabees chapter 14 is the understanding of in detail as to what led up to that deadly hatred back in First Maccabees 7. That's why I tell you before, Second Maccabees, really, that in reality, actually is First Maccabees. And First Maccabees is really Second Maccabees based upon the grave detail. I'll give you a prime example. At the time I have left, which is like a few minutes. When you read Genesis 11, Genesis 11 is the detailed explanation of Genesis 10. That's why you read about Babel in Genesis 10. But Genesis 11 explains to you how it became named, how the name came into existence because of the confining of the tongues. So Genesis 10 tells you Nimrod had a city called Babel, but it doesn't tell you why it's called Babel until the next chapter, where it gives you explanation as to how it became the city of Babel based upon the confining of languages. So Genesis 11 explains Genesis chapter 10. Genesis chapter 2 is the detailed understanding of how Adam was formed and how Eve was made and so on and so forth. That explains Genesis chapter 1. So Genesis chapter 2 is more detailed. Like, for example, Luke. You read Luke 1. Luke 1 is actually in more detail than Matthew 1. And Luke 2 is more detailed than Matthew 2. Luke 3 is more detailed than Matthew 3. And so on and so forth. It's like it's the Bible's a puzzle you got to put together.
Dickie did the same thing also with Daniel and Bel and the Dragon.
Right.
You was going back and forth.
Going back and forth to putting together.
Putting together.
Likewise, Esther and the rest of Esther and the Apocrypha, the exact same thing. Okay? So, where was that at? 46. Did I stop there? Yeah, I'm going to stop right there. We're going to continue in First Maccabees 7:23, where it continues on. So I'm going to stop, mark it right here, and we're going to continue on First Maccabees 7, verse 23. Continue there, Lord's Will, next week regarding Nicanor and his battle with Judas, all right, regarding that history, all right? So hope you guys enjoyed the class today. Shout outs to the IT team. They did a fantastic job today with the audio, the video. It was no issues or praises. Shout outs to the breakfast team. I got hiccups. The food was great as usual. I could barely even speak or breathe, so I didn't know if food was good. And shout outs to the audience as well. Thank you for your comments and your questions regarding the class and asking questions and making comments in context with the class. And not about your freaking your shoelaces and your fingernails, but about the actual class. Lord praises for that. And Lord's will, we hope to see you, brothers and sisters, again. Tune in to us again for another episode of Our Hidden History Radio. Announcements.
Yes, sir. Hey, Israel, let's give Deacon a hand for that class. Great class. Amazing. All praise to the Most High.
Like our commenter says, for bringing the scriptures to life. You know, makes it exciting. All praises to the Most High for that.
Right. Israel, if you like the class, you can always donate to Our Hidden History Radio. You can donate on PayPal to iuic.philadelphia@israelunite.org. Once again, iuic.philadelphia@israelunite.org. In the comment section, put OHH. If you missed any classes that Deacon has gone over in the past few months, you can always go back to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification button so you can know when we go live. We have every single class that Deacon has covered. All right? Also, don't forget to follow our other Philly channels, IUIC Philadelphia and IUIC Philadelphia in the Classroom, to get camp videos from the deacons, captains, and officers of IUIC Philadelphia. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We're all over the place, all right? Also, let's not neglect the Booster Club. You can donate to the Booster Club on PayPal to iuic.fundraising@israelunite.org. Once again, that's iuic.fundraising@israelunite.org. Help spread this gospel to the four corners of the earth so we can go home, all right? Lastly, don't forget to support IUIC TV, all right? You can subscribe to IUIC TV to get exclusive content from the bishops and the deacons, all right? That's it, Deacon.
Hey, and also, I must say, you know, sometimes, you know, this is a rough life on OHH. You know what I mean? You got to earn yours. So shout out to our reader, though he may be rude in reading, but very knowledgeable in music. So we had a comment, you know, where did that song come from in the intro? You know what I mean? So shout out to the RPM. Y'all don't know this, but y'all will soon find out. RPM Music Group. We're going to leave it like that. Y'all going to find out who that is. But in the meantime, shout out to Officer Abaddon for that intro, because a lot of people been asking where did that intro come from.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? Though he may be rude in his reading, but he's knowledgeable. He's great in the intro.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
All praise the Most High.
You
That's
don't miss
it,
a
D.
beat that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and give your
You don't miss a
donations.
note.
Give your donations, not your donuts. Abaddon said give your donuts. Give your donations, not your donuts. We want no donuts. Don't send us no damn Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
Well played, IT team. Well played. Thank you, sir.
You hungry, man?
Judgment is coming.
All right.
Yeah, what's up,
So-
you hungry?
Judgment is coming.
All right, so hope you guys enjoyed the class. Those we will see you next week for another episode of Our Hidden History Radio. Shalom, Most High in Christ bless. See you then.
Shalom, Most High in Christ bless.
Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Enemies are teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. History, history. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh